Alright, kiddos, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm just going to let you know that I currently have both of my kids here at the house, so you may hear them and Peppa Pig or some other video in the background. Alright, but we are going to go ahead and get started. Again, today is going to be what, in my view, is a practical life skill that all of you will at some point need to know. I want you guys to know that I am not the most well-versed person in this. A lot of your parents and or guardians are a lot better at this than me, and some of you will eventually be better at it than me as well. However, there are a few things that I can show you guys. Any constructive criticism or tips that you guys can give me, I would greatly appreciate. But again, I know a lot of you, my students, do not have a parent or guardian to teach you these things, so I'm going to do my best to show you some of these things. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be looking at buying a car because a lot of you are in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. A lot of you have gotten your first job, and you are going to be looking for your first car, okay? So I ask you guys that class who plans to lease a car within the next few years. And again, I want you guys to keep in mind that a lot of the stuff I'm going to give you here is going to be subjective. A lot of it's going to change with time, okay? All right, but first, who can you buy a car from? Well, pretty much to the best of my knowledge, you can buy a car either from a car dealer, or a private seller, okay? So dealer, obviously that's car dealers. And then private seller could be private party. Private seller, that would be a citizen who is selling a car, somebody on, say, like OfferUp, Craigslist, something like that, okay? But there are pros and cons to both. Hold on one second. So, as far as car dealers go, and I'm going to get a lot more detailed in this video than I was in class, because I don't know if anybody else watching this knows, but you, my teenagers in class, you all have the attention span of chipmunks who just ate an entire bottle of caffeine pills, okay? So you can pause this video when and where you need to and look at your phone, because I know that you never ever look at your phone. But anyway, just keep in mind I'm going to go into a lot of detail here, so try and keep your attention here, okay? All right, so if you buy a car from a dealer, it's usually been professionally cleaned. You can read car dealer reviews, so that's a key thing right there. All right, so remember that car dealers, they have reviews. You can go and see who has a good reputation, who isn't shady, who's going to give you a good deal, okay? With car dealers, to the best of my knowledge, usually their cars have had to pass some sort of inspection. You can usually negotiate better with a car dealer for a price because they are not as emotionally attached to the car, and they are running a business. They're trying to make money, okay? Car dealers can offer you financing if you don't have enough money to completely buy the car. You can get financing usually from a dealer, but I would encourage you to shop around credit unions, banks, anybody else who can give you a better interest rate than a car dealer, okay? However, car dealers, they are trying to make money because they are running a business, so a car from a dealer is probably going to cost more than, say, the same car from a private seller, okay? Now, a private seller, again, that is just your average citizen. That will be some of you guys one day. Their cars, sometimes they get them detailed and cleaned, but usually they're just not as clean, okay? There's no reviews. You can't look up reviews. You could look up criminal records, but for the most part, your average person isn't going to have reviews for selling cars on the internet, okay? You can usually get a lower price from a private party, and there is no inspection, okay? I mean, you could get the car inspected by a mechanic or something like that, but for instance, we live in Nevada. The state of Nevada has not inspected the car, okay? A private seller is not going to be able to offer you financing. Remember, negotiation is going to be harder because a lot of people have an emotional attachment to their car, so they think it's worth more than it really is. Sometimes you're going to have special mods on private cars. Granted, you could have them on dealer cars, but usually you're going to find them on cars sold by private sellers, and you have to also get in a mechanical inspection. Either do it yourself or have someone else do it, okay? Whereas A dealer car, you can usually probably get some kind of a warranty on for that mechanical condition, okay? So that's the first thing. You can buy a car from a dealer or a private seller. There's pros and cons to both, all right? Next thing, what do you need in order to buy a car? Well, if you're going to buy it, pay for it right away, you need money. Otherwise, you can finance it. So what does it mean to buy a car? Just basically you pay in cash, it's yours, done deal, okay? Now, what does it mean to finance a car? Financing just means that you get a loan, okay? So you guys remember when we talked about credit, what your credit score is and all that in class? Well, getting financing, you need to have credit or good credit, or you need to have somebody who can co-sign for you. You get a loan for the car that is financing the car. Now, technically, the bank or whoever gives you the loan still owns the car, but you are making payments on the car. Now, after you get done making those payments, then the car becomes yours, okay? Now, the third option, what does it mean to lease a car? You guys remember when we had our lesson on leasing apartments? Hold on one second. That someday you guys will have toddlers yourselves and you will understand, and your toddlers will behave just like you all do in class. It's going to be great. Can't wait to hear about it. Anyway, so when you lease a car, you are basically paying for it by the month. However, the car never becomes yours, okay? After you are done with the lease, you'll pay, I don't know, we'll say $250 a month. Pay that every month to whoever owns the car. You use the car with limited specifications, and at the end of that lease, they take the car back, okay? So you make monthly payments, but you never own it, all right? Now, what are the pros and cons of each? As far as buying a car, you get the title right away. It's yours. You only have to have liability insurance on it for you guys as teenagers. That is important because you are going to be paying a lot more for car insurance, okay? You pay for all the repairs, breaks down, anything that happens, it is yours to take care of. There's no limit on the miles. Modify the vehicle as much as you want. We always make jokes in class about the loud, annoying people who want a lot of attention that have loud tailpipes on their cars because they want to scream, "Hey, look at me, I need a lot of attention." Well, if you're one of those people, you're needy for attention, you can modify the vehicle and put one of those loud tailpipes on it, okay? But this does not build your credit score because you are paying for the car, okay? Now, next thing, now you don't need any credit. You don't need good credit if you can just pay for the car, okay? So that's a pro right there. Okay, so financing a car, pros and cons of that. Well, finance company keeps the title until you pay off the loan. You do have to have full coverage insurance. That's going to cost you more. Now, financing the car, if you make the payments, say you get a co-signer to help you out financing the car, but you make your payments on time, that will build your credit score. You can modify the car still if you want. There's no limit on miles. You pay for most of the repairs to the best of my knowledge unless there's some sort of agreement. And you do need good credit, okay? Now, last thing, leasing a car. And again, my knowledge is a little limited on this, but due to some of the things that one of my friends told me who sells cars, this is all true to the best of my knowledge, okay? So the dealer, whoever leases you the car, they keep the title. You do need full coverage insurance. You have limited miles, though. Like, say, you can only drive the car 50,000, 100,000 miles, whatever it is, 20,000 miles. You cannot modify the car. You can't make changes to it. Repairs are included. So that is a really good thing for any of you who are paranoid about your car breaking down. They cover the repairs, okay? Because you are basically renting the car for long term, okay? So at the end of the lease, you do not own the car. They take the car back. You cannot break the lease, and you do need good credit, okay? So that is buying, financing, and leasing a car. To the best of my knowledge, those are your three options, all right? So next thing, what are most of you as teenagers going to be concerned about when you go to look at a car? Well, most of you are simply going to be worried about how you look in the car to your friends, okay? And I'm not saying that it is kind of funny, but that is really what most of you guys are going to be concerned about. However, what I would like you guys to know is that you need to really be more focused on how the car runs. And remember what we learned about what you need versus what you want, okay? Get the car you need not per se the car you want. Get the job you need, not the job you want. Get the apartment you need, not the apartment you want. Once you have the car you need, then you can work towards getting the car you want, okay? But get what you need first. Get the apartment you need first, then find the apartment you want, okay? Get the job you need first, and then find the job you want, okay? You guys hopefully are picking up what I'm putting down, okay? The reason I have this on here, I used to work at this casino way out near the Hoover Dam. I had a friend who worked there. He was a good guy, but he had this really souped-up Subaru. It was a great car. It looked nice. It was real flashy. Got him a lot of attention, just what he wanted. However, the issue was it broke down all the time. And guess what? He ended up riding to work with me a lot in my old 93 Honda Civic. Why? Because my car wasn't as flashy, but it got me where I needed to go, okay? So again, what I am trying to tell you guys is remember the purpose of the car is to get you where you need to go, okay? So get the car you need, then you can find the car you want, okay? Don't shop so much with your emotions of how you will look in it, but shop with your logic, okay? All right, so what am I getting at here? I want you guys to take a look at these two cars. You got a 2013 Honda Civic and a 2013 Ford Explorer. They both pretty much same color. So which car is the best? What do you guys think? All right, so which car is actually the best as far as just looking at them? That is subjective, okay? It depends on who you ask, all right? It's like looking at art. Is this good or is it bad? Well, that depends on who you ask, okay? But remember what we learned in science class. Science is not about what you believe, it's about what you can prove, okay? So how are we going to relate that to looking for a car? Well, guess what? You can use consumer reports, you can use reviews, you can use all of these statistics and data to look up reviews and stats on the types of cars you're interested in, all right? So what I would encourage you guys to look for long-term reliability. I've had a lot of Honda Civics. I've driven those things. I drove one to Alaska and back 3 times, okay? And I've had some Fords as well, okay? Now, in the long run, I will tell you that one of them lasted a lot longer than the other one, okay? I'm not going to tell you which one because then everybody will just say I'm trying to promote that type of car. However, I can tell you that certain brands of cars and certain models of cars have lasted me a lot longer than other ones, okay? So look at your stats, look at your background, look at your reviews, and you want long-term reliability, okay? You want good resale value if you are not leasing the car because after you have that car 4 or 5 years or maybe even just a couple of years, you're going to want to sell it, get some money back out of it. So you need that, okay? Gas mileage, that's a big thing. I find it funny that you guys love Dodge Challengers and Chargers and these big flashy cars, which nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, remember, you're going to have to put a lot of gas in this thing, and that gas can add up, okay? So gas mileage, okay? Last thing, everyday utility. What are you using it for, okay? You're going 4x4ing in the desert, or are you just driving down the highway a lot, okay? So if you are going to be going 4x4ing in the desert, you're going to need something like this, okay? But if you're just driving to school and back all the time, you just need something that will get you from A to B, okay? So look at those 4 things: long-term reliability, resale value, gas mileage, and everyday utility, all right? There's probably some things I left out, but that should get you started, all right? So next thing, all right? So let's say that you found the type of car that you are interested in buying. I'm going to use a Honda Accord for this example, all right? You have your budget and you are looking for a car, all right? So again, this example, we're going to use a Honda Accord. We're going to look at a few ads, and I want you guys to tell me whether or not you think this is a good deal, all right? So first, I pulled all these off Craigslist. Craigslist is blocked by the school's website. Granted, you guys can all just look at it on your phone, but we are looking at these cars off Craigslist, okay? So is this a good deal or not? Well, years 2006, miles, it has 77,000. Cost is $3,820. Title status, that is what I want you guys to look at, okay? That's important. It's going to factor in later, okay? Title status is clean, all right? Now, transmission, okay? It says automatic on here. Always assume a car is an automatic unless it says it's a manual. Now, I know in class, most of you cannot drive a manual transmission, okay? Now, in my generation, Generation X, a lot of us can drive a manual transmission. They were more popular back then. However, now, not a lot of cars are manual transmission, okay? Our joke at least for me and a lot of my friends, is that a manual transmission is a Gen Z anti-theft device, okay? But a car that is an automatic has a higher resale value, to the best of my knowledge. Why? Because most people can drive an automatic, but not everybody can drive a manual, okay? So the transmission, that's where that comes into factor, okay? And the last thing, is it a private seller or a dealer, okay? Well, I can look at this ad and tell you it's a private seller, okay? You can look at the background, it's a picture of a car in somebody's driveway, okay? So, and sorry, my Spanish is a little touchy. I will have to have someone in class translate this for me, but again, I believe it's a private seller. So, that is the first car. Next car. Okay, is this a good deal or not? We're gonna research this all a little bit more later, right? Year 07, miles 110,000, cost it is $7,000. Title status. This is what I want you guys to pay attention to. What is the title status? Rebuilt. What does that mean? Well, we're going to look at that here in a minute. Transmission. It looks like it is an automatic. Sorry, that's my daughter watching Cocomelon. Okay, private seller or dealer. I'm going to assume that... Hold on a second. Private seller or dealer. I'm going to say this is probably a dealer. I see these other cars lined up neatly in the background here. I see some stickers in the windows, and I notice it says in the ad, gas saver, low miles, stuff that a car dealer would usually tell you, okay? Now, last car. Okay, so what do you guys notice about this car right away? Well, it is trashed. You notice that the car sitting behind it is also trashed. All right, so year 18, 018, miles 20,000, cost 15 grand. Title status. That is important. It is a salvage title status. Okay, transmission. I'm going to assume automatic, but I don't really care because things thrashed. All right, private seller, dealer. I'm just going to say it's a junk yard. Okay, so we are going to move forward here now. Question, and no, this isn't meant to upset anybody, so everybody just chill out. Have you ever dated somebody that turned out to be completely insane? If you haven't, you will at some point. Okay, now would it have helped you to know if that person was crazy before you started dating them? If you knew their history? Yes, it would. Well, just like all people have a history, all cars have a history too, unless, say, they're brand new. Okay, so why title status matters and what it means. So, personal story. When my wife immigrated here from Kenya, she got a car that was a lot like this. It was a 2013 blue Honda Accord. It was not this exact one. This is a stock photo, but it looked like this, okay? It was an auction car. A friend helped her get. It had a rebuilt title, okay? That's important here in a minute. She got it because it was cute, okay? And she liked the way it looked, and so it was her first car. She was excited. However, this car had been in a previous wreck. That's what the rebuilt title meant, okay? Now, one day she calls me from the store, says that the bumper fell off while she was at the store. The bumper fell off in the parking lot, okay? So she managed to drive the thing home. I had to sit there and put a bunch of bolts in the bumper and put it back on, all right? And then the air filter was always falling out because of where the car had been hit. It broke down a few times, and the mechanic said he would do the best he can to put it back together. However, since it had been in a previous wreck, there were just a lot of problems with the car, okay? So there was a lot of issues with this car, okay? I couldn't take the car to Jiffy Lube or anywhere to get the oil changed because they would always make it worse. And when we went to resell the car at Honda West, because it had a rebuilt title, we could not get as much money for it, okay? So that title status, if the car has been in a previous wreck, to the best of my knowledge, rebuilt means it was in a wreck. However, it was rebuilt. The car was rebuilt to where it can be drivable, okay? So that's the way I interpret that. So that is why rebuilt matters, okay? Matters on the resale value and the mechanical running condition of the car, all right? So we're going to talk about what a title status is for a car, what is a Carfax, how to keep from getting hustled. And remember, in science, we talked about everything is about what you can prove, not what you believe, okay? When we're looking at cars, we want to look at them with logic, not with emotion. Not thinking, how am I going to look with this? We want to think, is this thing going to run? Is it going to be dependable? in the long term for me, okay? Is it going to serve the purpose that it needs to get me from A to B, okay? We have to be objective, not subjective, okay? We're looking for objective evidence, not subjective evidence, okay? All right, so how can you learn a vehicle's history? Well, you can get a Carfax. It's probably some other sources as well, but this is the one I'm most familiar with. I would highly encourage you all, when you are getting a used car, to get a Carfax, okay? Spend a few dollars, whatever the cost is. Gives you the vehicle history report, how many people have owned it, has it been in wrecks, all sorts of other data. So get that Carfax, okay? Now, when we talk about the car titles, clean title, vehicle with a clean car title is one that is structurally in good standing and has never experienced a major accident, okay? So, if somebody was in a small fender bender and, excuse me, they scratched the bumper or something like that, it has a clean title. That's not a big issue. But the car's probably been totaled at some point, but put back together, it is not going to have a clean title, okay? Clear title just means there is no lien against the title. In other words, somebody at some point, maybe some dealer or some private party did not do some work on the car and is owed money by somebody who owed that car, so nobody can claim ownership towards that car, okay? So when you guys go to shop for a car, try to make sure your title is clean and clear on the car, okay? Now, excuse me there. All right, rebuilt or salvage title, okay? Rebuilt title, the title is transferred to salvage vehicles that are repaired and can be driven safely, okay? So cars pass safety inspections, but be wary of vehicles with rebuilt titles because they've been in wrecks, they have issues, okay? Salvage title just means that the vehicle is going to cost you more money than they're worth in the long run, okay? So I'm going to encourage you all to stay away from rebuilt or salvage titles, okay? All right. Oh, excuse me there. The Barrett's esophagus is kicking up, all right? So have you guys ever had something that was worth a lot to you, sentimental value, but was not per se worth a lot of money? I'm going to assume that you guys are going to say yes, all right? So what I am getting at with this is that, with dealers, you have a little more leeway in negotiation. However, when you are talking to a private seller, a regular person, sometimes they are going to assume their car is worth more than it really is because they have an emotional attachment to it, okay? So with that, how can you get what is considered a fair price on a car, okay? Because if it's a personal car, they might put more value on it than it is really worth, and a dealer is going to put as much value on it as they can, which is understandable because they're trying to make money, okay? So we're going to talk about what is the Kelley Blue Book, what is Nada Guides, and what is Edmunds.com, okay? So these, I'm going to focus on the Kelley Blue Book. That is to the best of my knowledge, kind of the base one most people know about. However, you can also use Edmunds and Nada Guides here, okay? But what these are, they are websites that will give you the fair market price for a used car, all right? And new car too, maybe, but we are focusing on used cars, okay? So any car that you go to look at, the way that they do this, again, to the best of my knowledge, I am not the best with economics. However, if you have, say, a 2013 Honda Accord and you want to know if you're getting a good deal on it, you can go to this website and you can punch in the numbers for the year, make, model, mileage, all of that, put it in, and they will tell you the average fair market price for a dealer or a private seller to ask for this car, okay? This gives you some leverage in negotiating the price. That way, you're not getting ripped off on the price, okay? So I'm going to show you guys an example of this, okay? So we are going to go look for, we'll use the same car that we had before, okay? We'll use a 2013 Honda Accord. All right, actually, we'll just use a Honda Accord first. Let's see here. We're going to go used. All right, 2013 is what we're looking at. All right, and then now I'm on Auto Trader. You can use any site you want for your assignment, but this one was just an easy one for me to find in order to give you guys a resource. Okay, now also what I want you guys to look at too is, remember, we live in the western United States. We don't have a lot of humidity here. In the eastern United States, cars cost less because you have a lot of winter conditions, salt on the road that eats away at the bottom side. Okay, so for instance, we have this car right here. It says used 2013 Honda Accord LXS for $14,000, has 73,000 miles. Okay, now, is this a fair price? Well, let's go find out. All right, so we're going to go to Kelley Blue Book, price, new or used car. I'm going to go 2013 Honda Accord. Okay, now we're just going to use actually, let's use school zip code. Okay, I think it's 89139. I could be wrong. Okay, so we are going to go look at this. We're going to go to build a price for this car. Okay, now for your assignment, I just want you guys to learn how to use this site. I'm not so much worried about if you get the exact specific right car that you picked off of here. I just want you to learn to use the site. Okay, this is an LXS. So we'll pick that one, and then color, we'll just say black, and we're not going to worry about this right now. We're going to click next. Now, we are going from a car dealer. This one looks like it is down in it's in Torrance, California, so it's down in Los Angeles area, right? So get used car price. Now, remember, this car has 75,000 miles, or 73,000, my bad. So now we're going to readjust this. Okay, so it says on here, fair market range, 12,000. We'll just say 13,000. We'll round that up. 13,000 to about 15,000, okay? Fair market range. So is this between 13,000 and 15,000? Yes, it is on the high side, but it is within the fair market range, okay? Now, I would encourage you to go to a few sites, not just this one. In fact, if you scroll down here on Auto Trader, it, I believe, gives you the Kelley Blue Book value. But I want you guys to also make sure that you know how to look it up on this site, all right? So go to Edmunds, go to Nada Guides, use the Kelley Blue Book, get some information. If you want to get a car from a private party, you can switch that right here. You can see the price went down a little bit, okay? But what you guys are going to need to do in your assignment, you're going to need to screenshot this car you find, and then also screenshot your Kelley Blue Book value, and then you're going to put that in your assignment, okay? So you are just figuring out if it is a fair market range price, all right? So next thing, we're going to go back over here. That is how you use those. So that is how you can assess whether or not you are getting a fair market value price for your car you're looking at, all right? So we're going to look at this car that we looked at earlier, and we're going to see if this is a fair price, okay? So remember, it is a private seller with a clean title. I think I did this, from a private party, okay? 2006 Honda Accord, same thing. I did actually put the miles in. So on this one, it says from a private party, 6,200, well, 6,300 to around 8,500. They want 3,800 for it. So yes, that is a very good deal. Okay, so I'd recommend you go look at this car. All right, and notice the title status is clean. All right, now next car, this one right here. What I want you guys to pay attention to, it says rebuilt title. Okay, rebuilt title. Now it's an 07 condition. It says excellent, and it has a rebuilt title. Okay, but they want $7,000 for it. Now, in my view, and again, my experience, if it's a rebuilt title, you're looking at rough trade-in. This is from Nada Guides. Says $4,787. They're asking $7,000. I'm gonna say no, not with a rebuilt title. Okay, so this car has been totaled and fixed at some point. and or at least had a major wreck and fixed. And now this is what it's telling you the fair market value is for a rough trade-in, and they're saying they want $7,000 for it. I would say pass on that one, okay? Now that is actually, I think it's a dealer. I had it listed as a private seller, but still, yeah, I think hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down here. Okay, last one. I mean, this car is totaled. It said as a rough trade-in. It says salvage title, so basically it's salvageable. It's total for parts. But if it was a rough trade-in with a rebuilt title, maybe $27,000. But I'd say anything that's wrecked like this, unless you are mechanically inclined, just skip it. Okay. All right. So as you can see, you guys need to do your research on your car. Make sure you know the background, fair market value, all of those things. All right. So when should you go look at your car? Let's say the first car. What time should you go look at it? All right. I want you to go look in the daytime. All right. Why do you want to look in the daytime? Well, for one, it's safer. Two, you can inspect. You can see things like this damage right here. A lot of things you can see in the daytime you could not see at night. Now, I want you guys to ensure you meet whoever is selling the car in a safe place, well-lit public place. Safe exchange place is fine. Take a friend with you. Leave information with somebody not going with you about who you're meeting, where they are, their background information, all that stuff. If you test drive the vehicle, ladies especially, do not jump in the car you are test driving with a complete stranger and take off. Take your friend with you, okay? All right, so remember, I taught you guys, approach the world as it is, not as you believe it should be, okay? All right. Next thing, when you guys get to your car, you've inspected it and everything, I want you to make sure it is the actual car you saw online. Sometimes people who are selling cars will switch the cars. It's not the one you saw in the photo. Make sure it is the actual car. Next thing, look at the VIN number, okay? The VIN number, you guys remember when we learned about DNA, okay? Like you learned about DNA. Your DNA is specific to you. Well, a VIN number is specific to a certain car. So take your phone, and what you can do is just reach over right underneath the windshield, I believe on the driver's side should be the VIN number. Take a picture of the VIN number of the car, okay? And then you can get the Carfax on it. Get some photos of the car yourself. Inspect the body for damage. Inspect the mechanical parts of the car, the engine, suspension, all that good stuff, tires, and take it on a test drive, okay? So here's the thing. I do have a checklist you guys can use. I'll show you that in the classroom. Now, what is a well-researched customer with a checklist to a BS artist? Well, they're a nightmare, okay? But a lot of you guys are not comfortable saying, well, I'm not comfortable inspecting a car, like a mechanic would. What am I supposed to do? Well, you can actually, at least here in the LV, you can hire one of these mobile mechanics, okay? They will come out for a fee, and they will inspect the car for you. You get a licensed, certified mechanic. I would recommend finding one that is ASA certified to come out and inspect the car for you, drive it for you, let you know if there's any issues with the car. In my view, that is a great investment to make because remember, you are going to have this car a long time. It is a big investment. Hire a mobile mechanic, or you can take it to a good mechanic shop. Have them inspect the car before you buy it, okay? Have them take it for a test drive, then you look at it yourself and drive it yourself, okay? So after you've tested the car, had the car tested by a mechanic, inspected, you've driven it yourself, you can talk prices with the dealer or with the private party. You can use the websites I gave you, Kelley Blue Book, Nada Guides, and Edmunds to help you negotiate a price because remember what I taught you guys about claim evidence reasoning. They're going to make a claim that the car is worth so much. You can make a counterclaim and back up your counterclaim with evidence, which would be your quotes from these sites and other data. And then remember, your reasoning is just why your evidence supports your claim, okay? So that'll help you negotiate a price, all right? Now, when you guys go to pay for your car, all right, do I want you to meet someone and just hand them $5,000 in cash, somebody you've never met before, offer up, and just trust that they are not going to scam you? No, okay? So when you pay for the car, you need to make sure that you have a record of it, some sort of a paper trail. I would recommend using, if it's a private party, maybe a cashier's check. Otherwise, if it's a dealer, just something where you have a paper trail and you can show where the money came from and where it is going to, okay? And once you guys get your documents, your bill of sale, title, and all that, I want you to take your phone. I want you to take a picture or a scan of your documents, and then I want you to upload them and email them to yourself. That way you have a copy of them if you ever need them, okay? All right, so last thing. So you now have paid for your car. What do you have to do next? Remember that really boring lesson we had on car insurance earlier this year? Well, now you get to pay for car insurance. Sheer joy. Okay, so get you some insurance. You need insurance on the car so you can legally drive it on the road. Try and have that set up beforehand. If you can, you should be able to call, say, Geico or another company on the phone, and they can usually just hook you up over the phone with an insurance policy. That way you are safe to drive the car, okay? Next thing, go get your smog check. Here in Nevada, Southern Nevada, they are $20-ish at the moment. Now, you have to take your car to the wonderful, wonderful Nevada DMV. There's no way you're ever going to wait in a line there. But you are going to do that, and you are going to have to pay more money to get the car inspected by the state, get it registered, all of that fun stuff, okay? So you get it registered, get your plates, pay some more money, and then you drive off in your car, okay? All right, so last thing, and remember, this is just me, habit from search and rescue. I want you guys to make sure you have these things in your car, okay? Now, the spare tire and jack, you should have made sure that you had that in the car before you bought it, so make sure there's a spare tire and jack. But make sure you have a flashlight, warm clothes, a multi-tool, an extra quart of oil in case it starts leaking oil, you need to add it. Make sure you have some water. You can use water as coolant, or if you get stuck, break down in the middle of the desert, you have some water to drink. Make sure you guys have jumper cables. Remember, we learned in class how to jump start a car. Shovel, no, I do not have that on there, so you can hit somebody in the head with it and then throw them somewhere in the desert. I have it on there so you can dig yourself out of the mud, okay, if needed. And gloves come in real handy when you are changing tires, okay? All right, so last thing, resources. I will have these videos linked in your assignment, and I have this used car checklist printed out in my room. If you guys are going to go look at a car, you can drop by and get one. So what I need you guys to do, I need you to go into your assignments tab, go to Car Buying 101. That is going to be this assignment here. Make sure you read the instructions just like you guys always do, right? Okay, if you need a walkthrough on the Kelley Blue Book, I show you the steps right here. Here's a link to these three, and these are not all the same video. Notice this one says, what is a good deal when buying a used car? What is maybe I did put the 3-1. My bad. Okay, anyway, so I was trying to give you guys some links to the other videos in case you needed it. Let me see if I find that. Did I put that on here? Okay, so used car inspection checklist and the entire video series. I put this video series in here in case you guys want to go watch some of these about buying used cars, because I know you're not going to remember all this. But when you go into your assignment, remember, do your own work. Plagiarism is a crime in the classroom, and if you do work for somebody else, if you give them answers, make sure they pay you for them, all right? But I want you to go find a car like this one I did here, and you are going to screenshot it, all right? Just like that. Now, you guys have to do this a little bit different on your Chromebook, but you are going to put your screenshot in here like this. I have my car I found and my price. Then you are going to get this graph right here from the Kelley Blue Book. You are going to screenshot that again on your Chromebook. It is going to be a little different, but you guys all know how to do that. So you're going to go in and take that screenshot and put it in here. So last thing you're going to do for step 3, is this a fair deal? Is it within the fair market range? Let's see. Yeah, this one's right at the top, but yes, it is, okay? So, and at the bottom, simple, yes or no, okay? But that is your assignment. Once you're done with that, submit it. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope everything goes well for you and have a good day. Make sure you guys stay safe out there. All right, have a good one.